So I really love to watch anime and I like to read manga, but I hated the art movement of drawing anime. I had this sort of, I think, twisted elitist mind of when you want to learn how to draw, the last thing you do is copy anime. And I still think to some degree it's true in the sense that if you want to learn how to draw, but copy anime, you're not actually learning how to draw. Sorry, PewDiePie. And the reason I say that is because what you're actually copying is shortcuts from actual fundamentals. But I did want to investigate why anime art is so freaking popular. And I did break it down into 5 points. So let's get right into it. The first one is that the thing they do beautiful with anime art or manga is they just focus on the essence. And I think that's a really underestimated power of drawing. What they do with anime characters specifically is that there's just enough to show the essence of the character, what they represent, what their personality is, and all you need to know about them in a simplified design. And I think that's something you can really learn from. That's something you can really learn for your art going forward, is something that if I want to create a character, what are the absolute essentials that I need in order to make that character come to life? And I think that's what anime art does, or manga art does fantastic. They do that so well. They focus on the essence of the character and nothing else. That's all you need to know. And the crazy thing is that they almost use all of the same framework when it comes to the head of the character and the features. But because of the graphic design, they become so unique in their appearance and their personality that it really, really works. So I think that's a point for anime art. Number 2 is epic design. And I've started learning this because we're building an anime road on the Artwod road, specialty roads, where I teach you basically to reverse engineer, right? The thing I said about what students tend to do wrong is they copy anime, but they're not really learning how to draw, right? They're learning to copy anime. They're learning to copy shortcuts. What we do is we help you understand fundamentals, and then we teach you those shortcuts so that you understand them and can create your own anime. And I think that's a really important distinction. But what I do want to give for anime, like what I do want to admit for anime, is that their focus on design is impeccable in the sense that and that relates to my point number 1, is the focus on shape design and making the most out of the shapes to communicate what you want to communicate is impeccable with anime. And I think they really perfected that. I think we can learn something from that when it comes to especially like comic art. Although like you could argue the Marvel comics and DC comics really do also have sort of that unique simplification of a character that I do really appreciate. I do see it with anime art as well. It's like there's this distillment of the essence, and the design, the graphic design is so on point. I really like that. I really, really like that. Even though it's not my style or what I would necessarily want, because I like a bit more realism and believability in my art, I think their focus on great shape designs, from like the eyes, how those are designed, to the overall features of the face, to the hairstyle, where they do a lot of variations, a lot of unique designs in the hair itself to make the character look unique, and then the clothing style, and then the figure proportions. It's built in such a way that you can only admire it, right? That's what I truly admire about that design focus of anime art. So that's for sure number 2. I really, really appreciate that. And I think the one they were really winning is the one where they push boundaries. I think that's something when you read like a manga book or when you see anime, is like the way they are bold enough to push shapes, to really, really push it outside of what you think you could push drawings and designs. They do it and it works. And I have to admit, I've stolen a lot when it comes to like visual effects in my drawings, comes from like anime and manga. It's like, that's where I really love to steal from when it comes to creating big, bold, daring effects, sort of these either travel effects or like dynamic effects, movement effects. That's something where I really look up to anime design and what I really, really appreciate about it is because they're so willing to push the boundary of what is possible. And I think that's where you can really learn from it, because it will help you be more bold and daring in your designs in general. So you're no longer too conservative with the static structure of what you've learned in like anatomy class or what you learned about the proportions of the figure. You're like really starting to push and pull. That's like, it's very close to what we do in our sort of beginner road, where we teach you to push and pull forms, just simple forms. And then we teach you to push and pull figures, so very dynamically, but just through the figure mannequin, but already getting a sense of how can I now play and be really, really bold with these shapes that normally, or like traditionally, you wouldn't really go that far. Anime really taught me to push those limits. So again, awesome job. And I understand why it's so popular in that regard. Now, number 4, I think reason number 4 is by far storytelling and originality. When I look at a lot of the anime series that I really, really love, like Death Note or Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, those are like series and story arcs that are just so original and well written. I don't want to claim they're super original, but at least like every time you see a new anime series, it feels like there's something unique. There's like a unique selling point to that specific story line that they have, like Attack on Titan as well. There's something so unique about it. It's so bold, it's so daring, that I really got to respect. And I think a big part of that creates the popularity for its art. And that's where I definitely respect it, because there's so much storytelling in there. There's so much willingness to push the boundaries and create original worlds and like original thought, and really also play with the human psyche. They also do that so well. Sometimes it's a bit over dramatic. Sometimes it's a bit too like Days of Our Lives in terms of how dramatized they do everything. But overall, they do want to push like the psyche, the thinking of, you know, just people in general, interactions, storylines. They really push it. And I think that's part of what contributes to why the art style becomes popular as well, because it's just a simple fact of association. Now, a good question would be here, if we can do something very similar with, let's say, Western art, like comic art and comic animation, and do equally bold and daring stories, would that make our Western art more popular as well? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the popularity is, but I think anime is winning. Like, let me know in the comments if you think anime is winning versus like our Western comic art or even European comic art. I'm not sure. I don't have the numbers, but I think anime and manga is winning. And then number 5, which relates to number 4, is they have such deep and relatable characters. I think that's the reason people want to draw them. I think a big part of that is because the characters are often so well written. And I have an entire talk about characters versus what we see nowadays, especially in the game industry, which are basically avatars, mindless puppets. They're not characters. They have no personality. A lot of them don't, at least. In anime, they really seem to capture that really well. Like the essence of being human, all the flaws you have, the strengths you have, the doubts you have, the beliefs you have, the goals you have, ambitions you have, all of that, the struggles you have in life, the people you interact with, how they can betray you, how you can love them. All of that is really well captured a lot of the times in anime characters. And I think that sort of embodiment, that deep human psyche of human behavior that people connect to and relate to, because a character is about relatability, I think that's something they do really well. And then if you couple that with just the essence of good graphic design, there's a great association between what I love as being human, or what I strive to be, or what kind of character and personality I really relate to, and then pair that with something very graphic, visually appealing. That, I think, is what makes anime such a popular art style. And I just wanted to share that with you, and I wanted to get your opinion on why you think anime art is so popular. If you have any other reasons that you're like, you probably missed that and that, I'd love to hear them as well. But it's one of the reasons that I really started to appreciate it. I still think there's better ways to start learning how to draw with the fundamentals, but I do think it's a great and fantastic sort of art style, and I've grown to appreciate it more and more, so I might venture into it more and more as well. All right, so with that said, as always, stay creative, and keep drawing.